it's easy to fall back into the old programming that the world has set for us based on fear, on lack. That's how the world's set up with the news, the monetary system. There's the rich and the poor. There's wars. There's uncertainty. There's gun laws. There's drug lords. So we get programmed into this world thinking we understand it. And our parents teach us, and the teachers teach us. But that was a shared perspective, because the old world was more easily controlled because they just had newspapers. They didn't have the internet. So it was much easier to persuade the nation because everyone was reading the same thing. Now we're in the new time where our beliefs, you know, reality is, it's a reflection of our own beliefs. And coming from the higher perspective, the knowing, because we're manifesting right now, we're manifesting this moment, the next moment. And so seeing everything is perfect right now and feeling it and not just pretending that, but doing Kundalini yoga, going on a walk, eating a strawberry. I don't know what you need to do to begin that positive momentum again. So you feel good because ultimately that can be an everyday experience. And wealthy people realize this sooner or later with money. You can have a lot of money, but the stress, if you haven't balanced yourself, and I'm meaning whether you have the money or not, to be here, to be thankful for what you have now. Because ultimately, that feeling, the gratitude, is what generates the money. And there's rich people that count pennies, but they're still poor minded. So there's a certain balance. And wherever you're at right now, it doesn't matter because it's all relative. But continuing to build the momentum, however small, whether it's eating a strawberry, doing Kundalini yoga 7 days a week, that's probably too much, but there's certain things that make you feel up leveled, and there's certain things that will make you feel down leveled. And so everyone's different, and you just have to know yourself well enough to know where they're going. And maybe sometimes it's good. It's just like sugar or something sweet. With anything in your life that's maybe bad for you, you just have to limit that and care about how you feel ultimately more than how you feel in the moment. And that's not resisting anything necessarily, but that's just tuning into your heart. And especially before you reach a low, because if we're unaware of ourselves, our internal state for too long, we can have a crash. We can have something bad happen in reality, kind of, to wake us up. Oh no, why is this happening again? That's happened to me so much. I was adopted when I was really young, and then there's just be this reoccurring theme all throughout my childhood of things just going sideways. But I didn't know what I know now, and so now things 100% of the time just go very smoothly. Even if there's an illusion of a hiccup of a mountain, I just look the other way and I'm like, well, I'm thankful for what I have. And then I turn around and it's gone. And certainly there's certain mountains inside of us that are limiting beliefs that even that I'm still working on. But it's just about returning to who you want to be right now. You're there now. Bam. Your past is alive. Your present's alive. Everything can change in a minute, in an hour, in a day. And it is changing right now. But what we're preparing for is ultimately where we're going to go. And if you're preparing to succeed and you stay in that and you make that a part of your identity, then you'll succeed. And if you're preparing to fail, if you're preparing to not be able to pay rent, if you're preparing, for the end of the world, then what reality are you actually aligning to? Are you believing? Are you putting out there? Our auric field comes out of our body. All the people in our town, in the city, in the state, build a collective energy. And so, really, the clear-headed, peaceful thinking is the best way to go, because then that's how you're going to make the best decisions, even if the world ends. Oh, I'm going to survive somehow. Oh, and lo and behold, everything worked out for you. Wow. That's the way reality has always been, until we got brainwashed by the whatever is controlling us, was making the newspapers and then the news. So this is the time that so many people get to shine. There's 1,200 millionaires that are made every day. Half of them come from America. And that's a real statistic. It's even more than that, actually. And I'm not saying that because I'm a millionaire. I'm saying that this is the time we're living in. And it's just getting easier and easier to make money, even if we have limiting beliefs that say otherwise. Make money or live your dream life, be a rock star, whatever your full-hearted, calling is, that fire, that desire. And it might be multiple things, but leaning into that daily, weekly, however much, it's about tuning in with yourself, but ultimately keeping your eyes on the prize. We got to know the clarity. We have to have the clarity. We have to have the action, and we got to have the belief. The action isn't necessarily required, but it certainly helps. That's what I've come to realize. I've manifested things not doing anything, but like I manifested a dream job this one time that had everything I wanted, and I put like 5 or 6 things out there into the universe. I wanted a split shift. I wanted to be out in the woods. I wanted my own room, and I didn't have to pay for food or anything. And I got all that. But I still put in the job application. At least I think I remember. But who knows? The world works in mysterious ways. That's the old saying, God works in mysterious ways. But right now we're living under a rock with our beliefs. And it doesn't allow for the miracles to come into place. But every day when we live more and more in our expansion, we're tuned in, we're enjoying life, we're grateful, going in that direction. That's what leads to that place where we are where we want to be, really. We're in the dream life, we're living the dream. But it's our perspective, it's our beliefs, about ourselves and the world that keeps this old reality locked in place. And it's the resistance of it, and it's the disgust of it. Ugh, tired of not having money. I'm tired of not, that is feeding that reality. If we could bring our attention off of it long enough, enjoy ourselves long enough, be thankful long enough, we'll see that the chapters start to change in the right direction. But, it's that balance. Not being too harsh on yourself, being easy on yourself, but also rolling with the momentum. I want to feel better. I'm going to go on a walk. I feel tightness in my body. I feel my emotional body's not steady today. Do some yoga. Talk to friends. I don't know. There's so many things that we can do, just depending on who we are, that it's going to be different. But leaning into that, leaning into who we want to be, and when we're thinking that we're not where we want to be, we got to realize that it's just thinking that we're not where we want to be is what causes that perception in the moment, and then reality changes back to where you were before. But that's the illusion. That's why we have really good days. It seems like everything's going. That's like I'm gonna make it. I know I already made it. And then there's days where it's like I'm a nobody. I'm never gonna make it. Mama said I wasn't good enough. There's just gonna be those kinds of days, but ultimately it's our decision. It's not that feeling or that thought. It's reality. It's who we decide to be. We dust ourselves off, get back up. Well, I'm still a rock star. It's half delusion, but it's half perception. At first, it's delusion, but ultimately, imagination is reality. We're in the mind of God. And that's why miracles are normal. There's supernatural events that happen. It's because when we're not limiting reality and focused in on it, on the particle, we're letting reality be a fluid, a wave, you know, there's multiple realities that can come to play. But it's our programming to focus on the worst case scenario, to focus on what's going wrong, the threats, that causes those to multiply and multiply, and it's a part of your life, and you're tired. Just want to, you know. So, tuning in, being out in nature, taking care of yourself like your little SimCity character, your little avatar. You're one of those little games that you had on a keychain you put on your backpack. You had to keep it alive and feed it and stuff. Except there's so much more to you than just feeding you. You need to get some sunlight, some photons in your skin. You need to touch the ground, breathe in the trees, feel the aura in the breeze. It's the little things. Sometimes it might be enjoying your favorite TV show. Sometimes it might be enjoying a special rich chocolate cake. But other times it's not going to be. And you have to, you know, understand where you are at the moment to realize if something is good for you, if it's God for you, or if it's bad for you. And not that anything is good or bad, but it's just what makes you feel good, what makes you feel bad. And then again, it's not about forcing anything, but it just you exhaust the desire naturally. Even people with the worst habits, it's the resistance to it that causes the repetition. If you could just be thankful, be enjoying yourself, be present, eventually you're gonna be like, do I really need this anymore? Do I really want to do this? For me, I've always lived. Well, I used to live in a more of a balance of extremes. I would eat. I would be, lazy, just eat whatever, and then I would work out. I would work out 7 days a week, meal prep, go crazy, and then I would bounce back and forth. And then same thing with my room. It would be super clean, and then dirty, super dirty. Oh, back to super clean. You know, so everything is a balance. It's a pendulum, and we just have to go with the flow. But at the same time, realize that we're in control from a higher level, and you are. You're in control from a higher level, from a higher perspective, even though we may not see it. Hello. Even though we might not perceive it. And life gets so much easier. And this is not the reality that we thought it was when we grew up, where we might think it is now. The world is unlimited. There's so many realities that we could go into. But ultimately, where do you want to be? Where do you want the world to go? Don't you want it to blossom? Don't you want the United States to come back from the dead as the phoenix? For that spirit within you to die. Oh, I guess I don't have to suffer anymore. I expel my sins to you, Christ. And it's like that. It's the same thing that Christians kind of say about. But it's not defined in words. The way of Christ isn't necessarily a math book, something written in stone. It's a heart feeling. It's the forgiveness of your old self, of your old reality. Forgiving that you ever saw life that way. Because ultimately, we got 3 fingers pointing back at us whenever we point anywhere. And that's for a reason. We have to take accountability. Because we're in control of our reality. So, hope this is useful for you. Make sure to get outside. Do something. Gosh. I've I got a new place. So I've been taking it easy more. But now it's getting tiring just to sit on the sofa. I'm just like, okay, I'm bored. So that's what I mean when your desires will eventually, they'll change, they'll evolve, or you will not want to do something anymore. So yeah, we're not in control at the same time. So everything's a paradox. We're in control of our reality. We are, but it's a funny thing, and we can't force anything. Otherwise, we're resisting, and then we're trying to control reality, but we're not going to because we're coming at it from the wrong perspective. So ultimately, fulfillment right now, gratitude right now, breathing right now, finding ways of improvement right now, doing them, not just finding them. That's ultimately what leads us to where we want to be, which is right here, full circle. We were always where we wanted to be. We always had our dream life, but it was just our perspective from our parents, from the world, that falsely impressed us and had us scared. Oh no, I have to limit myself. But we're all rock stars. We're all artists. We're all chefs. We're all content creators to some degree. And we have different abilities. And it's just about knowing and understanding our abilities and sharing them with the world in some degree, and then letting that momentum build and meeting new people. You know, things change. You get new ideas. So, this is your reminder to keep going. You're almost there. You're already there. Really, you've always been there. And it's that perspective that you want to have, even if you're just starting off. You have a divine purpose, but ultimately it's doing what the F you really want to do inside your heart, and then just doing it. And the magic will happen as you go. You may need to learn to play the guitar in flow before you can really write a good song. You may need to learn how to speak a little bit better, not say so many ums. I laugh because I say a lot. But there's always something else we're gonna have to work on. So really, just not giving it F, doing it now. That's the best advice I have to you. So hopefully you're doing good. I'll see you around.